About 7.5 years ago, I was on a job search. I had been at the mission for a while, and I was starting to feel that tug to the next thing, that call to the next thing, even though that next thing was poorly defined at the time. So I was putting my profile into churches, and I was sending my resume out to fundraising positions. That is how I ended up here. You saw my profile, you asked me to come and visit, you called me to be your pastor, and for that I am thankful. But before that happened, I had interviews, including an interview for a fundraising position at a major regional healthcare provider. I had a phone interview with them, and it went very well, and they wanted to talk to me some more, but before they wanted to talk to me, they wanted me to fill out a questionnaire. So they emailed me the questionnaire, and I opened the questionnaire, and I started filling it out. I started typing in answers, and then I got to this question. One of the major values of major regional healthcare provider is passion. How are you passionate about working for major regional healthcare provider? And I thought about it. I started typing something in. And then I closed that document, and I opened my email, and I sent major regional healthcare provider a message saying, "Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you about this position. I'm afraid that I am no longer interested in it. Best of luck on your search." Because the simple fact is, I was not passionate about working for major regional healthcare provider. I was interested in working for them. I was interested in the career move that would be. I was interested in the title that they would give me. I was interested in the large sum of money that they wanted to pay me. But I wasn't passionate. I didn't feel that I have to work here or nowhere. I didn't feel that I want to be at major regional healthcare provider doing the work that they do, because I knew that the work that I would do was not the work that I was called to do. I have been told, I have heard, that there is a crisis of meaning in the world today. A crisis of passion, a crisis of care, a crisis of knowing who we want to be and what we want to do. I have been told, I have heard, that this especially affects young men, but it kind of gets everyone. That we are stuck in a place where we are just kind of going along, trying to get from day to day, trying to figure out how to survive, and that we don't know where to look for those things that give us passion, for those things that give us meaning, for those things that give us purpose in life beyond getting through today. I mean, we're given options, right? There are people who say, pursue money. Money will give you meaning. Money will give you purpose. The pursuit of money will fill the hole in your soul. There are those who say, pursue power. Power will give you purpose. Power will give you meaning. Power will fill the hole in your soul. There are those who say, pursue popularity. Popularity will give you meaning. Popularity will give you purpose. Popularity will fill the hole in your soul, and so on. We are given options. And the problem, of course, is that none of those options actually do what they're advertised as doing. It does not take long looking around, seeing some of the folks who have a lot of money and a lot of power and a lot of popularity, and realize that they are still somewhere inside of them a little bit empty. And watch them as they try to pursue a little bit more. One more dollar or one more $1 billion will finally fill that hole in their soul. But it won't. One more piece of control over somebody else, one more opportunity to do as they will finally make them feel whole, but it won't. One more fan, 100,000 more Instagram followers, one more social media network that they rule over will finally bring them peace. But it won't. And the same thing is true for me on a smaller scale. I can try to get that little bit more money. I can try to get that little bit more power. I can try to get that little more popularity. Wouldn't I feel good? Wouldn't I feel whole? Wouldn't I feel fulfilled if I had a 6-figure salary? And I could say a word and people would follow. And this sanctuary was full to capacity and beyond. And our YouTube channel got more hits and views than I could have possibly imagined. Wouldn't that finally bring me something to fill the hole in my soul? And I know that the answer is no. Because there could always be more. And I would always want more. I would always look at that pastor who is making a little bit more, at that pastor who had a little bit more command, at that church that had a bigger sanctuary with stadium seating and thousands of people every weekend. I would always be looking one more beyond, whether that one more beyond was real or not. And that hole in my soul, those powers of sin and death and everything that makes life less, would tell me, you're not done yet. You have to go further. You have to get more. I have been told, I have heard that we have a crisis of meaning in the world today, and I will tell you that that crisis of meaning is caused by looking for meaning in the wrong things, by looking for meaning in the things that cannot give us meaning, by looking to get filled by things that cannot fill us. Our hunger will not be sated, our thirst will not be slaked by the things that the world, by the things that the powers of sin and death and everything that makes life less offer. But there is, of course, another option. It is, according to the world, according to the powers of sin and death and everything that makes life less, a foolish option. A ludicrous option, a ridiculous option, an option that does not make an ounce of sense. And yet, we can follow Jesus. We can find the bread of life, the one who can give us meaning, the one who can fill our souls, the one who can make us whole. And then we will never deep inside be hungry again. And then we will finally be at peace. And we know who Jesus is. We know what Jesus is. We know that Jesus is the God who is love, become one of us out of love to redeem the world for the sake of love, to fill all that is with love, that all of creation might abide in love. I told you that the world says that's ridiculous, that the powers of sin and death and everything that makes life less say that that is ludicrous, and I have heard people say that. I have heard some folks, like recently, like this week, who rush after money and power and popularity, say, in public, on broadcast sorts of media, that empathy, that caring about other people, that seeking the good for everyone, that in short, loving folks, is itself a sin, is itself bad, is itself destroying civilization. I don't know if said people are aware that we're trying to live in a society here. I will tell you, love is exactly what will save us. Love is exactly what will fill us. Because when we abide in love, and when we together abide in love, we want for nothing. When we abide in love, we are so filled that we overflow, that there is enough and more than enough, that our physical and spiritual and mental and social needs will be met. It is love, and I'm going to tell you. I am going to tell you because, again, I know that there are folks who say love is easy. Love is simple. Love is this little feeling. Love is frou-frou. Love is hard. Love is work. Following this Jesus guy is a difficult task. It means walking through the wilderness while the powers of sin and death and everything that makes life less laugh. It means taking the slings and arrows of those who seek after money and power and popularity. It may even mean being betrayed and arrested and tried and nailed to a cross to die and being laid in a tomb. It may mean giving up everything else for the sake of everyone else. It is hard. If you want to do something that is amazing, try loving just a little. If you want to do something astonishing, try loving just a little. If you want to try something that will blow people's minds, look at your family and your friends and your neighbors and love them, and then look past that. Look to strangers and love them. Look to enemies and love them. Look to those who would try to destroy and love them. Just as they are, and too much to leave them that way. Try to do that thing that Christ has done. Try to do that thing that God does again and again. Try to look at creation and love it. Not just as a feeling, but as an action. And I will tell you that as we try to do that, as we try to do that, as we strive to do that, as we struggle to do that, as we fail to do that sometimes, but pick ourselves up and get back to it, we will find ourselves being filled with something amazing. For there is peace in loving. The kind of peace that I have seen. The kind of peace that lets sages and saints give up so much of the world just to love the world. And so as we step into Lent, as we step into talking about this bread of life that fills us, I am urging you to fast from all of those things that make life less, and to find your fill in the bread of life who is Jesus Christ, who is the God who is love. Go and love until you are filled. Share that love until others are filled. Live in love until the whole world is filled. Until we finally abide in God's reign of love. And after all of the hard things that come with that happen, there will be a resurrection, a coming back to life, a new and abundant life lived in love. And that is good news.